Cool.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'm Vernaire.
Oh, okay. Let's do it again.
See, I don't know if I could do that again. That was gold. Ready? Ready?
Yeah, all good.
I'm Vernaire.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is
For the Creators. And we're back. We're back.
We're back.
And it's episode
10.
10.
Can you believe it? And this
Mad.
is actually our 1 month anniversary.
Ah.
Drum roll. Literally, we're 4 weeks in, guys. Can you believe it? I can't believe it because I remember when it was all a dream.
It was all a dream.
I used to read For Creators magazine.
Coming soon, coming soon.
Coming soon.
No, for real. For real. No, it's been good. And thanks for everyone's support and feedback. So far, we've got a lot more to come. And we're going to get better and better each episode with everyone's feedback.
Out here hunting down guests like I'm in Game of Thrones. We need more guests. Also, guys, if you know someone and you want them to be on the show, please feel free to recommend guests to us as well.
Yes.
Because the more guests that we can get in that you're actually interested in, the better it's going to be for all of us. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like we always say, this is by us, but it's for you. So, yeah.
You're our co-host, stealing it from Wendy Williams, but me no business.
So what you been up to this week?
This week has actually been a very interesting week. I feel like I had a life this week.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm just stuck in my house, building websites and doing things for my business. But this week I actually attended a local networking event. So I met quite a few local women who are starting up their own businesses. And it was quite an informative session as well. We went down to Shazam.
Yes.
Went to see the big man, Big Nasty perform.
Yeah, that was both good and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. And we hung out with some of the staff from Shazam as well. We stayed back.
It was a really good insight.
Had a nice little
into what they
session
do.
with them. Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have them on soon.
Yeah, and I also went down to the Afro Hair and Beauty show yesterday, which was quite interesting as well.
Yeah,
It was really nice to see so many black businesses in one place under one roof. Everyone just interacting with each other. It was good to learn a little bit more about hair care, especially Afro hair care, because, boy, I had an Afro last year and it had to go. I'm sorry, guys. But Afro hair is definitely not get up and go hair. It isn't. So it was good to be surrounded by so many women of colour that were doing positive things. I met some really amazing people. And can you believe, guys, that I met the girls from Vamp? If you listened last week, I mentioned Vamp and I actually met them. So that was dope for me. What did you get up to?
What did I get up to? So going to Shazam, just making music. Making music, man. It's good. Getting stuck into a project which can't really talk too much about at the moment. But yeah, getting stuck into that.
By the way, guys, last week, after the podcast, I heard Ryan's voice.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan's got a little Usher thing going on, guys. It's going to be a little heartbreaker on the mic soon. So, EP dropping soon.
Yeah, watch this space. Yeah.
No, he's got a lovely voice, man. I can't wait
you.
for him to do some more stuff and share his talent with the world. Obviously, I'm going to be on backing vocals. You don't know. I can't sing, but I've got ambitions to.
Yeah.
Ambitious.
We heard that on the last interview.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to be Beyonce, remember?
I still want to be Beyonce.
Yeah, cool.
I want to have her life.
We'll see about that.
I'll even have the twins if I have to. So today's episode.
Yes, today's episode was with, well, not today's episode, but the last episode was with Angelina Dove. And yeah, it was a really, really cool sit down with Angelina. Something different and something that I didn't expect, to be honest. And being that I've known Angelina for years.
So what is it that Angelina does, just to tell the audience?
Yes, so she's an artist in pretty much every sense of the word. So she's an illustrator, a designer, like she makes things, she makes headdresses. She's a singer-songwriter, a poet, like literally anything you can think of that would come under the banner of being an artist is what she does. So it was really cool to sit down and unravel how that came to be. And yeah, if you listen to it, it's not what you would expect.
What was your main takeaway from the interview with Angelina?
Just that you don't necessarily have to be in a creative environment to be creative. And her childhood and her upbringing is testament to that. You know, it can really shape the way you think, but in a expansive way, not in so much of a restricted way.
Yeah, and I think that's the same thing that I took away from that conversation as well. Because if you listen to the interview, guys, basically she didn't grow up in the traditional family home, in the sense where she would you call it Mormon? It was almost like a Mormon sort of society where her parents took them away from everything. So almost took them away from civilization, in the sense where it took them out of the city, took them to their own little area where they weren't really allowed to watch television and things like that.
There was no external stimuli, so no
so
TV,
it was
no music.
everything that they provide. They controlled the books that they read. They controlled everything that happened, and all the things that they were influenced or affected by. So for her to then grow up to be such a creative person that was almost stifled as a child is really interesting to me. But do you think it has something to do, Angelina, just before I say this, I'm not calling you a wild animal, but do you know this, do you know when you have this, so say for example, you have animals in a zoo, because they've been caged in for so long that when they get released, it's like an explosion, because they're free now. So it's like every single thing that they've held in for so long, all that pent up energy just gets released. So in a way, it's kind of like, had she not grown up that way, would she be as creative as she is now?
It depends, because you can think like, are you born a creator? Are you born like an artist? And if you're in a restricted environment, are you always going to be always yearn to be creative anyway?
Or could it be that because she wasn't influenced by external forces, so for example, because she didn't watch TV and things like that, that actually nurtured her creativity even more? Because sometimes I always ask people, is there such a thing as original? Because does that even exist anymore? Because we're all influenced by what we see on the internet. Or for example, I'll say for myself, when I'm trying to do anything creatively, or even to produce a document or a business case or anything, you always Google it to find something similar that you can use as a reference point. But growing up like she did, where she didn't have that as an option, then she had to find it within herself, potentially in the early days. And then that might have served her as she got older as an adult, because she relied on her own inner creativity, her inner, I don't know, rather than like us, where we're so conditioned to look externally. Like when we're growing up, we looked to the library for source of information and things like that.
It's interesting, but I think her experience definitely shaped in one way or another at least the creative output that she does now. So it was really, really, really cool. So definitely check that out. I think overall the main thing I got is to not judge a book by its cover at all.
Why did you say that? Because you didn't know that about her?
Yeah, and because I'd spent a lot of time with Angelina, and it's not until you ask the right questions that you get the stories. So it was really fascinating.
It's funny because I was kind of having that conversation with my friend earlier, and I was saying that you can know someone for 20 years and they know absolutely nothing about you. Because I feel like what we do as individuals is we, I think I edit myself depending on who I'm speaking to. And it's almost to the point now where it's automatic. So if you're in a corporate environment, the language that you use, your body language, everything just changes. But your brain just somehow knows how to trigger that person.
Do you
so
think
I
that's
feel like we've all got split personalities, but not in the mental or schizophrenic sense. But
do you think that's a survival tactic? Like, you've got a goal in this environment, so therefore you need to do what it takes to maneuver through that environment.
I think that's it. It's even like your telephone voice. So, people always say,
yeah, for real.
Oh, you sound totally different like on your voicemail to what you sound like in general, because you automatically put that voice on and you don't even realize that you're doing it. Or even like, for example, swearing.
Yeah, like, when to and when not to.
I will swear like in normal conversation to my friend, but when my mum's around, it's like
P's and Q's.
So that. You know what I mean? So
it's crazy.
It's crazy how the brain is able to just operate in that way and to flip in between personas.
So in a way, we do restrict ourselves in different ways.
But then I think sometimes you restrict yourself depending on what the person that you're speaking to can handle
True. Yeah, I guess we just want to be understood.
or liked.
Yes. Yeah, depending on the goal, I suppose. Interesting.
Yeah. So before we go into another podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, guys. So today we actually have filmmaker and film director Jordan Williams in with us today. Jordan's joining our conversation just to give us an insight into what he does as a film director, what the role involves, what he's working on at the minute, and we're very excited to have him. So let's welcome Jordan Williams.
Yay!
Hey, Jordan, how are you?
Doing all right, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Man.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, so every week, as you know, we have an individual on our shows like yourself, someone who's up and coming, or someone who's working behind the scenes in the creative industry. So if you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, so just to give the audience more of an insight into you.
Cool. So yeah, I'm a filmmaker. I guess I say filmmaker because I kind of have various different roles as a filmmaker, I guess. And
Can you
I feel
elaborate
like-
on that for us a bit?
Sure. So, I guess like when I kind of started up, a lot of the stuff that I was doing, you kind of had to self-produce yourself just to kind of get the work. That makes any sense. That you kind of have to you have to be entrepreneurial at the same time. So, I say filmmaker just because I've kind of I've done sound, but before I've scored my own films before.
Okay.
What is scoring a film? Sorry.
I guess I mean, I've not composed music. No, I'm not
Okay.
composer, but I find music and
So you curated the
yeah,
sound.
Okay, cool.
so I've recorded my own sound. I've recorded sound for other people. I've done again producing. I guess pulling together actors and stuff like that.
Right.
I've done artwork for films as well.
Wow,
Just yeah.
So literally all of the above.
Yeah,
Like-
pretty much. Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
pretty
Jack of all
much.
trades.
Yeah, but since in the last year or so, I've been trying to just focus on cinematography and directing.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the difference between cinematography and directing?
So cinematography is it's the storytelling behind the camera. If that makes any sense. So I guess on screen you have actors, and the actors are going to have dialogue, and in the dialogue you're going to hear what they're saying, and you're going to hear the story
Sure.
and the relationship between the actors. The cinematography element is telling the story around that. I guess in ways where it's the
Is it the editing?
Okay.
Of it,
So it gives
or-
it the context.
context is I guess it's you want to reflect the context in the cinematography. So
Got it.
So for example, we could just in this room as we are. It's it was just raining outside. Instead of having this white light, we might have a blue light just because outside was raining, and kind of the temperature of the feeling of the room might make us feel a bit, I don't know, depressed because it was raining outside.
Oh, wow,
It's kind of reflecting the emotion and the context or the
that you want to
Yeah.
portray in the film rather
Yeah.
than
So it's
just
like
what's
the mood.
happening.
Yeah, it's the emotional, I guess the emotional DNA of a scene. I guess.
Wow.
That's what cinematography is.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much.
And how did you pick that particular element up? Because I think people can imagine directing, because that's part of the movie industry that they show in terms
Yeah.
of there's
What
a director
is
seat.
directing there?
Well, I mean, I think people can imagine picking up a camera and saying,
Yeah.
"Okay, you do this. It looks like that,"
Yeah.
But cinematography, how did you pick up because that's very nuanced in terms of
Yeah.
the mood and things like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now you've said it to me, and now I'm picking up I've seen that movie,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they've really got it right.
Yeah, yeah. So I've started cinematography. I got into cinematography because I wanted to be a better director, actually. So it was something that I realized, okay, I don't actually have much knowledge in that particular area.
Just before you go on, can you just break down what a director is?
Yeah. So
I'm confused now.
yeah. So it's different for everybody. So everybody, there's no every director is different because they would come from different different aspects of filmmaking to be a director in the first place. So me particularly, I started my route into filmmaking was photography.
Interesting.
Well, to like graphic design actually. So I was doing graphic design first, and then I went into photography. Then I started doing music videos and stuff like that. So my route to making films and videos is via like crafting an image, whereas some people, their route into being a director might be there was an actor once upon a time, and they have experience working with other actors and cast members, or they might have been a producer, and they were writers before.
So when you say crafting an image, is that like taking screenshots of an image once it's been filmed? What does crafting an image actually mean?
No, I just mean in the sense of like I mean, just from a design point of view. Obviously, if you're a graphic designer, you're crafting an image from the beginning, I guess. So my background is understanding imagery and understanding the language of imagery, which then translates to photography, which then translates into filmmaking and so on and so forth. Whereas that's one side of it, but again, that's not to sleep on the side where, again, directors who were once actors or directors that were writers, and they write scripts and they understand the scripts that they write, so then they can then communicate that with the rest of the team, I guess.
So what value do you think, as a film director, starting off as a graphic designer, what edge does it give you over someone who maybe started off as an actor and then went into being a director?
I think it's, again, just to guess my understanding of image, I guess. Graphic design is very much about understanding languages and in visuals, knowing, I guess, like, what colors mean and what composition is, and what fonts and stuff like that. It's also knowing what speaks to who as well. So what colors speak to what person, what typeface is going to speak to somebody, what textures are going to speak to particular audiences, I guess. I feel like that translating to cinematography, if I'm going to start a film, and my approach to cinematography would be to how can I bring together as many different ideas and textures and colors that's going to speak to the audience I want to speak to.
Right.
Basically, yeah. And
wow.
But that's one layer of the visual treatment, I guess, to a film, I guess. Yeah. There's also, all right, what's being said in the script, and how can I make the script be understood beyond what the dialogue is saying.
I think that came across in the work that I've seen for 20 Minutes.
Sure.
And the other one, because it was, what was the other one called?
Disconnect,
that's it. Because it really tugged on your heartstrings. It really drew you in. So even though 20 Minutes was about, do you want to explain what it is?
Yes, 20 Minutes is about the Stanford Hill rape case in America. There was a college student. There was a college party, and a woman who was, I think her sister was a student there. She came to the party as a guest, and during the party she was drugged and raped, and she then woke up in hospital to find out that she was drugged and raped. So she didn't have any recognition of the experience.
Wow.
And then that's the story. Our film begins with her waking up in hospital, and it shows like the emotional journey that she goes through upon realizing what's happened to her, processing it, kind of rebelling against people she loves just because she's feeling so distraught about what's happened to her, and then finding her strength again to then go to court and face the person that's done what she's done.
It's heavy.
I think the part that really stood out for me was when she almost felt like she had to, justify her actions on that night, or because the police were saying, "Oh, but you said that," but then it wasn't like that. Right. So it's kind of like proving that she was kind of like proving that she was raped.
Right.
Which for me it came across as a little bit insensitive on their part.
Right.
But then Disconnects, on the other hand, was also thought provoking because, and then I think I went into it kind of thinking I already knew what the story was going to be.
Sure. So
there was a twist at the end. So do you want to explain what Disconnects is about?
So Disconnect is about a Moroccan lady meets a British Pakistani guy online, and she travels to the UK to get married. And they get married, and the relationship isn't quite what she hoped it would be. So she wants to get a divorce, and the the imam in the mosque
Yeah.
where she wants to get a divorce from is also the uncle of her husband.
Oh.
So
Oh, is he the uncle?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
yeah, so he. I mean, so that is an obstacle for her, basically, for her to get over the divorce. I don't really want to tell the
Yeah, don't spoil it.
but that's the synopsis, basically. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're both really like thought provoking. So you should definitely go and check them out. They're both on YouTube.
No, so I mean, I sent you guys.
Oh, you sent us the link.
Yeah, just
so private.
Yeah, but I mean, so both of them, I think they've probably reached their festival, like end of the festival run, so they should be out pretty soon, actually.
Okay.
Awesome. What festivals were they played at?
So 20 Minutes was selected for Aesthetica and Encounters.
Nice.
And there's another one in Europe that it was selected for as well. I forget the name of it, but Aesthetica and Encounters was they were festivals that we won selection through because of the fact it was a student film.
So they're film festivals, yeah?
Yeah. So it was a student film that we did while I was doing the masters last year, and it got selected to represent the university as like one of the films that they had to submit that year, I guess.
Out of how many films?
I don't know, actually.
That's a big honour, though.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so Aesthetica, and so it's like this like student kind of like council thing that they do, and it's kind of like a route to like, not so much it's a route to BAFTA per se, but it's like, but the two festivals they got selected for were BAFTA qualifying festivals, so
nice.
it's
Lovely.
kind of like a way to kind of get students involved.
That's really good.
Get some exposure as well.
Yeah.
That's really good. So when would you expect to hear from BAFTA?
Oh yeah. So we didn't win. We got into the festivals, but we didn't win it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so that it's a competition.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, we've kind of like delved straight into
Yeah,
the
maybe
conversation with you.
pick
So
that
just
up.
to break it up a little bit, what's the most creative thing that you've been up to this week, guys?
Been up to.
Or seen.
Or,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so what I'm particularly interested in, like kind of what I've seen recently, is like the stuff that's been done in like the Afrofuturism, I guess, like kind of like scene, I guess. I mean, so like Black Panther, for example, is like an Afrofuturistic film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sense of like kind of like it's like I mean, it's fiction, of course, but it's like an alternate reality of what a future in Africa could
potentially,
be,
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a lot of artists are kind of like going in direction of like creating like concepts and like photography concepts and
Yeah.
other stuff like that, just to reflect
Yes.
that kind of stuff. That's kind of the stuff that I've seen recently.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was a festival. I think they called it an indoor festival, Afro Republic,
Okay.
by Disturbing London. They did
Okay.
an event at the O2 where it was like what you're saying.
Okay.
So it's like a Afrocentric, futuristic kind of festival.
Cool.
And I think
When was that?
that was Saturday, I think.
Okay,
yeah, so
cool.
I think WizKid headlined.
Oh,
Okay.
so it wasn't just WizKid performing. It was more
No, so it
than
was
that?
like a day festival. Imagine
Oh,
like
wow.
imagine
I thought it was
a
just
music
a
festival, but with
performance,
one stage. I think that's how they treated it. And I didn't go, but it looked
live,
amazing.
Yeah, because I just saw a video just back when I was sitting waiting for you guys with WizKid sort of just coming up on like being elevated onto the stage, and
Yeah.
you just saw all that the masses of people. I guess we were seeing their phone lights.
Yeah,
But
insane.
it just looks amazing. Imagine I just can't imagine what it must be like to be a performer and then just coming on stage and just seeing
all of them people.
that and all of these people and all of that energy that's diverted towards you. So it
That's
was
crazy.
amazing.
That's crazy. So, but it looks like they pulled off a really, really good show. And yeah,
Yeah, it's also like law of attraction as well, because I read somewhere where he said that maybe about 4 to 8 years ago that he'd love to sell out the O2
Oh, there you
in London, and he's done it. So
there you go.
yeah, so
WizKid's a massive artist in Africa and Nigeria. But obviously it wasn't until recently where it's become more mainstream, So artists like that, although they're massive in their home countries, weren't able to perform at O2 and sell it out and headline under their own show on their own company.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing progress.
Amazing time
Amazing
now
progress.
as well.
And from what I've seen on Twitter, everyone that attended, it just seemed like a good vibe. Like, there was no trouble, and there's a stigma around black people in multiples under one roof, creating trouble, and
Right.
you didn't hear anything. So it was just good vibes, man. So
That's
yeah,
really
that was
good.
that was good to see.
The most creative thing that you've seen this week.
So kind of that, but also kind of a curveball. So there's a trend on Twitter at the moment. It's the unpopular opinion trend. So,
Is that the thing that you sent me?
Yeah. So people were like, "Oh, my unpopular opinion on," and then whatever. So
Okay.
there was a thread on unpopular opinions on creatives, and yeah, there was a few on there. I think people are a bit bitter. So
That's all I got from it. Because it was sort of like, oh, well, just because someone's a creative. I think the one that I read was more along the lines of, just because you're a creative or you call yourself a creative does not necessarily mean that you know what you're doing, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just because you've got 11,000 likes on socials does not
Okay.
necessarily mean that you're the most creative person that
Sure,
there
sure,
is.
sure.
And that's true because, for example, and that's why our show is so great, I think, because we're shining a spotlight on people who are actually doing things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be because you've got 10,000 followers on Instagram while you appear on our show, because that does not necessarily mean that you're good at what you do. It's like, for example, if I was to go and, so say, for example, I create a dud profile tomorrow and I call myself Dr. Vernaire Bass. Who's going to question me?
True.
It's only the people that actually know me, like, what is Vernaire doing?
True.
But if you never knew me from anywhere,
True.
you're just scrolling through Instagram, I look the part, wearing like doctor's clothes,
Right. Yeah.
strolling through the A&E department,
Right.
doing my thing. Like, you'd actually believe that I'm a doctor.
True.
You might even potentially ask me for a prescription.
it's true, because people do buy into those narratives.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
true.
do
And
it well enough.
I just bought 100,000 followers. And
Okay.
that means now I am a boss.
Yeah.
And
Right,
that is
right.
essentially what it could be with like a creative, because people are judging your talent based on the amount of followers that you have.
Perception, definitely. But yeah, no,
Instagram is like perception. That's like the mecca.
it definitely,
Perception. Right?
absolutely.
Fake it till you make it, Zion.
That's yeah. For some, I suppose. But yeah, the thread was interesting. Like, there was one person that said, this is Ainsley_Jarvis, if you're listening. The people who say, quote unquote, I can't even draw a stick figure and have never actually tried to even draw. If you work hard and practice, you can become an amazing artist. People have those preconceptions of themselves and haven't actually tried to do anything. I think there's an artist in everyone.
That's true. But I also feel like it's one of the things I always say. I feel like if I wanted to fly an airplane, I could.
Yeah.
Because it's just a matter of teaching yourself how to do
It doesn't mean you're going to
something
go into a plane now
follow
and then
it through. Do you know
and then
what
fly,
I mean?
but you have to learn.
Because it's with everything. It's like anything that you start in life, you start off as a novice. So every expert was once a beginner. So you had to start somewhere. And, by putting in the hard work and the dedication and the time, that's how you become great at your craft, and being open to constantly developing your talent and learning. So I feel like you can be anything that you put your mind to. I don't know if that works for singers there.
We're going to have to test this theory out.
So Ryan, you know what to do. I'm trying to hint here, guys. I'm literally trying to tell Ryan I want to be a singer and I want to be on his next track.
Well, you have to
He's just not
show
listening
me
to
your
me.
work. Show
No,
me
but
it.
I can't show you what I don't have. You're supposed to be helping me.
I'm
to
helping you
develop
by...
my skills.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like there's talent in here. It's just untapped.
cool. Tap into it and then show me what you've done.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Next
my
week,
hope.
guys. Acapella.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah, so what do you think of the whole argument about creatives just being able to just go on Instagram and say, I'm a film director, or...
Well, yeah. I mean, there's an element of you have to fake it till you make it. I guess that if you're going to be a novice, you kind of have to look like you know what you're doing just to be in the room. I guess there's people to say, okay, fine, you can come in the room. Sometimes like there's this element of that, I guess. But no, just keep it real, man. Keep it real.
Yeah.
I think that there isn't it, because like even for myself, one of the things I've said to myself is to try not to say no. So if someone says to me, can you do that? I always say yes, and I'll go and figure out how to do it and then come back. I've done it so many times. So I guess there's just finding a balance.
There is, but also the person asking you, can you do this? They would have, they could have asked someone else. So then you must have given them some sort of impression for them to think, oh, Vernaire can do that, obviously.
But it might just be the gift of the gab.
Yeah. But if this person's a stranger to you, then your gift of the gab hasn't worked yet. It will. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
And you, what's the most
creative thing I've seen is obviously attending the Afro Hair Show. They had some amazing hairstyles that they showcased on the stage. They actually had a competition.
I saw it was a bit of like a catwalk.
Yeah,
thing.
and the winner actually I don't know how they did it. It was a combination of extensions, and she had like 2 massive circles on the back of her head that were like multicolored, and then she had this random thing with hair wrapped all around it over her arm. It was just so creative, but then it makes you think like, how did they even come up with that? But then to find out to interlock the hair so they all come together to make that one hairstyle. So it was so dope to me. And then there was some...
Was that live? Was people doing that live? Or was
No, this one I don't think was live. I think this one had to be planned beforehand.
Cool.
There was no way they could have done that live.
Okay.
But then there was some had really different, like the use of color in the hair as well. So there was one girl that had like all of her hair was dyed like yellow and green, but the way how the highlights came through and all of that was really interesting as well. And it also was really interesting in general about black hair is the ability to manipulate it. Because the good thing about the afro, which most black people, even like myself, what we don't really appreciate is the fact that it can go from, curly to straight to just having, tiny bumps. That we can do so much with our hair, but because we've been conditioned to almost feel like our hair needs to be straight all the time, that's why most black people don't even enjoy wearing their own hair out. And I'm guilty of that, but not necessarily because I don't enjoy it, because I was natural for a while. It was just because it takes time. There's no get up and go unless you have like extensions and things like that. So it was really interesting to see all the different things that we can do if we really took the time out to do it with our hair and how creative it is. So yeah.
Wow. Very interesting.
Are you really interested, Ryan?
Yeah. No, do you know what? I remember going to the is it Afro Hair and Beauty Show?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Were you dragged to the Afro?
Yeah, I went with my parents ages ago. I remember picking up a patty and a grape KA when I was there. But we watched Dancehall Queens for the first time. They had I don't know if it was a premiere, but they had a screening of Dancehall
Was that when
Queens.
you was at Ali Pali? Alexandra Palace?
It might have been,
Yeah, because that's where it used to be.
It might have been. It might have been then. Yeah. So I remember watching Dancehall Queen.
There's a screening they had, though.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like the premiere. I was probably like 8 years old or something like that. But yeah, that was cool to see. And then so that was directed by a director called Don Letts, and I think it was. I'd have to fact check that. If not, edit.
Next.
But I ended up working with him on a BBC documentary.
Okay.
I think it was BBC.
Dancehall
I have to fact
Queen
check that
was one
again.
of my favourite films. Walk and Live.
Tarkan. Boop, dead.
I've not actually seen it. Actually,
You've not seen
I've not
Dancehall
I've not
Queen?
seen it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Do you know how many one-liners I had from Dancehall Queen in secondary school?
Yeah, fully.
I was literally a full-blown yardie. But it's a dope film. It's one of those gems. It's almost like a Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to see it.
Yeah. We'll stick up the links. It's gonna be on YouTube now, isn't it? Really.
You think? It must
Probably.
be.
We'll check. I'll check and I'll put it in the show notes so everyone can watch. I probably need to watch that again.
I think I might have to go draw for the Dancehall Queen again. It's one of those films, like, no matter how often do you know what's funny about films, though? And I don't know if maybe that's a question for you, actually. How do they do it? I watch a film about 10 times, and each time I watch a film, I'll see something completely different. I don't understand, like, how that happens, and I guess there's no way for you to kind of pre-plan that. But what is it that is it because we're focused on one aspect of the storyline so that we don't focus on like how would you describe it?
I think, I mean, maybe you can chime in this as well. I feel like with like just good pieces of art, like, I mean, if a good song, you're going to hear something different every single time you listen to it. You're going to catch a different lyric. You're going to catch a different, 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 you might catch another double entendre that you didn't hear the first time around. And maybe like you might have even caught it first time around, but you've gotten a bit wiser since the first time you heard it. So therefore you're understanding it a bit differently as well. Yeah. I feel like that's, I guess, good films, I guess, speak to good film is gonna do that. It's gonna do that.
Yeah. What did you think of Childish Gambino?
The
latest
This
video.
is America.
This is America.
That's a very good example as well of a good video that has a lot of layers, and also the song as well.
Definitely multi-layered.
Yeah. I think there's not enough of that. Not just like what he's talking about, like the conversation he's starting, but just also people putting that much time and effort into their work.
Craft.
Agreed.
But do you think it's because, which this kind of takes us nicely into the topic of the week, because the topic of the week is, where is it?
I think the topic of the week
So the topic of the week is actually basically, is Netflix and other streaming services eventually going to replace cinema? And I think that what's happening now is going back to what we were just discussing. I think because we're in a generation where we expect everything so quickly, so artists are kind of running against the clock. So it's like, all right, do I sit back like Childish Gambino? It's his last album, isn't it? So for him, he has the time. He's creating a piece of art. But for the average artist, they just want to get something out there. Like I work with artists, and I know that they're just trying to put out a video every 2 weeks. And there's not really much of a thought process behind it, even how, the cinematography or the actual video relates to the song. It's just like, look, you got 10 people, camera, let's just go down there and make it. So do you think that our appetite for things have changed because we want things so quickly that we're missing out on the actual quality of what's been created?
I think, yes, our appetite is changing, but I think services like Netflix and like Spotify have recognized that and are challenging it with fantastic content. So, like, on Netflix, there's so much good things on there. It's ridiculous if you can't find anything to watch. I follow people on Twitter, and they're like, oh, all right, I've seen everything on Netflix.
Really?
Can you recommend something good to watch? Well, firstly, I'm like, no. Secondly, how do you watch that much TV?
But then also, it's kind of, the question and it's kind of like a weird word because it's like, I've seen everything on Netflix, but can you recommend anything on Netflix for me to watch? But I thought you said you've seen everything.
Exactly. But I think in answer to the actual topic, do we think Netflix and other streaming services will eventually replace cinema? I think it will replace cinema in the way we think of it today. So it's already done that. So Netflix will have a movie or TV show and stuff, and it will have its own premiere. So they'll have the red carpet and all that. So you'll see the same actors and things like that on the magazine covers and the newspapers.
You just
but then
won't go to the
it's not in the cinema. You just then press play in your living room, and essentially that is a cinema experience. But you're not actually going out of your house.
So it's convenience over experience.
Yeah, I think so. And I think until the cinemas make the experience of going to a cinema better than just amazing sound and a massive screen and £10 for a bag of popcorn.
Oh my God, going to the cinema used to be a cheap date. Not anymore.
It's crazy. Like cinema tickets like
a popcorn, it's like, what?
Cinema tickets are like £15 or something like that.
Yeah,
each.
Yeah, they go.
But is it supply and demand? Because obviously,
I just think that's desperation.
People are not really going to. There's not. I remember back in the day, if you went to see a film, it would be guaranteed packed out.
Yeah.
But these days, like you can literally go in there and choose your seat.
Mm-hmm. So, you can choose your seat. I think as well because people know, it's going to be on Sky in 3 months. It's going to be on the streaming services in a couple months. Like, wait, I don't want to go spend all that money and then hear this person chat on the front row and this person have a fight behind me and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Or do you think that social media is actually contributed to this and ruining the cinema experience? Because before you can even go to watch the film, you've heard everything about it on
That's the
social
thing, man.
media. Like,
That's the thing. Like, so you do run the risk. Like, I haven't seen the new Avengers yet, so
okay.
I've had to mute all the Avengers like keywords on my Twitter, so none of it comes up.
oh, can you do that?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can do
dope.
that. Yeah. So you have to, but you have to spend some time to write all the characters, all Marvel, everything. Like some
Why
slip
don't you
through.
just go and watch it, Ryan, instead of...
There you go. There you go. I just haven't had the time, but
What's
yeah,
your
you
take
do
on it?
you do run the risk.
I think it's people gonna have to do a lot more to get people to go to the cinema. I think films, like you said, like, you know, having good sound and a great, you know, picture isn't necessarily enough. But I think if you take the Avengers film, for example, I would have seen it anyway because I'm a Marvel fan in it, but I wouldn't have felt as encouraged to see it. It wasn't for the fact that social media had such a, do you know what I mean? Like, and
Well, in terms of hyping it up.
yeah, and even the social media thing, it's like, it's not even that it was social media that got me to go. It was people telling me about it, what they saw on social media. So
Right.
it was the conversation after social media had happened, and people was just in real life telling me, "Oh, have you heard about this film?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, people saying this and that on social media. So it's part of the social media is part of the real life conversation.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of what kind of spurred me to go.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, I guess so.
So do you like? Because I know for me, when I see a movie trailer, in my head, if I see two movie trailers, two separate movies, I'm like, watching that at home, watching that one in cinema. Do you have the same thing?
I mean, well, it's like for me, I mean, because I'm a filmmaker, I kind of have this less natural, like, urge just to support because I have to support in it. Like,
Yeah. I do the same for music.
so
to be
I
fair.
probably, yeah. So I don't know the last time I bought a pirate DVD actually. It's probably when I thought, all right, let me start making films seriously.
Yeah.
I probably subconsciously said I'm not doing that anymore. But there's things where I won't go and watch everything, no. So there's things where I'll go and watch it because, I don't know, you kind of want to, I feel like it's an event within itself, I guess. It's not just about watching just for the sake of watching.
Yeah.
It's about seeing it and feeling like just immersed. Because I mean, you can watch it at home, right? And you put it on the TV. You put it on the TV at home, but then the phone rang, so you got to pause it, and then you got to then, you know, and then the kids downstairs or the kids outside, you had to tell them to stop talking or whatever. There's an isolation that comes with going to the
You
cinema
mentioned
that
something
allows
like
you to.
that with working in the studio and like having the lights off. Because I
Right,
remember you having
right.
having a conversation with
That was
someone.
with Will.
Yeah, so
Okay.
basically the different experience that you get when the lights are off is
Right.
the same thing, that you don't have those distractions.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why you get immersed
Yeah,
into the actual film when you're at the cinema.
So it's definitely immersion is the key
Yeah.
Yeah.
for cinemas to
yeah,
stay relevant.
Because everyone's phone switched off, everyone's quiet, everyone's focusing on
Right.
the screen. There's no, like you said, your child's not going to come in and say,
right.
"Can I have something?"
Yeah.
Or that there's no distractions as such because you're there for that reason.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I feel like because of the times that we're in, people will appreciate that a lot less. I feel like people don't appreciate not being disturbed or not being distracted. So I think
Absolutely.
that's probably going to have an effect on it because people don't know. People are so used to being distracted that they don't necessarily think now is a good time to not be distracted.
Our
necessarily.
attention spans as well.
Yeah. So
It's funny though, because on that point, for example, when a new Game of Thrones episode drops and it's on at a certain time,
Yeah,
and you're a fan of the show,
Sure.
and everyone else is watching it, it's kind of got that community aspect where
Sure.
although we're used to being distracted, you want to make sure at 10 o'clock, phones off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear no distractions because Game of Thrones is on. No one is spoiling this for me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's the community effect that made Black Panther so successful.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Because Black Panther, like, if you watch Black Panther, this question would almost be like, no, that cinemas are not going anywhere. If you
Yeah,
just based
yeah.
it
Right,
on
right,
Black
right. Yeah, sure.
Panther, because
Right.
everyone wanted to go, like, everyone was asking, have you been to see it?
Yeah,
no one
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, well, mate, you waiting for the DVD. Everyone wanted to go to the cinema to see it, and some people went even more than once.
Yeah.
Because it was just the whole community vibe. Because you wanted to see what people were going to dress up like.
Right.
It was something else, and I
Right.
feel like if maybe more cinemas can tap into the Black Panther effect, that they'll be more successful. Like you said, it has to be more than just coming.
It needs to be an event.
Yeah, just to watch the film. Like, but then again, is that cost effective for it to be an event each time?
I think so. I think if they think of innovative ways to make it an event, then I think it will balance out. Because I think as a community or a culture or whatever, we're yearning for experiences. We're looking for something to do, which is why our attention spans have become so quick.
Theatrical, that's the word.
Yeah, in a way, like it should be immersive, like fully immersive. Like you should go in when you walk into the cinema. I should be in the film, not. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in the cinema.
More like 3D.
I suppose like augmented reality, or I mean, it's all possible now. Like I should be able to walk in with my phone up and look around. Oh, I'm doing the motion. This is a podcast. And look through my phone and be in the film.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? I should be able to, if I'm in Avatar, I should be able to walk in and like, oh, right, I'm in the jungle. Or
Did you guys do much? Like, do you guys like watch 3D films often? Would you pay the extra?
I have paid the extra to watch
Okay.
3D
in
films.
the past, I have, but not much.
But
recently.
I've always thought it's been a bit gimmicky.
Okay.
Yeah, just in the way they've used it in the film,
okay.
it didn't really lend to the narrative or
okay.
cinematography or anything like that. It was just, oh yeah, there's something
An extra
coming out the
little
screen.
thing. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
But I think if the decision makers behind filmmakers approached technology and used technology in a way to lend more to the actual film experience, I think that's what will make cinemas relevant.
So, do you think that cinemas are almost where record labels potentially were at some point where they didn't really keep up with the way how things are moving forward?
Absolutely.
Because technically, when you think about it, like the View Cinemas, or even like all of the the companies that own cinemas, they should have technically been the Netflix of this world, or because they're with the times.
So I mean, you could compare a cinema to say like a Virgin Megastore because they're the distributor of the medium, and as you know, there's no more record shops really. Do you know what I mean? So
they're almost like the HMV.
Yeah, exactly. HMV, like film. Virgin, Our Price. I can't remember any other ones, but they need to think of ways to keep people in. You know.
Yeah.
I think I guess like I don't. So would you say that? So just to use records as an example, people still collect records.
Yeah.
It's just as pieces of art. I guess like people's. I think cinema probably will go in the same direction. So I feel people will go to cinema, but it'll be, like it's not going to be as commercial as it was before. Like it's going to be something that people just go specifically because they want to, have the intention of being a part of what it is they're going to, like as a treat to themselves maybe or something like that.
Yeah. Do you think it will be something like, because in the 1950s they used to have these drive-through cinemas.
Right.
Have you been to one?
This is what my point is.
Okay.
Right. So do you think in 10, 20 years that what we look at as cinema today, it will be like a relic that people go to because it's a throwback?
What you're saying?
Potentially.
Yeah. Potentially. I think so. I think, I think that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah.
But also, I went to drive-in cinema to watch Grease, and it was amazing because they had like the waiters and waitresses were all on roller skates, and you felt like you were in Greece, and you were all singing along.
So that's the immersive experience.
So and obviously you're in your car, so you're comfortable. Mm-hmm. So there's the convenience of being in your own space, in your own environment. You can bring how much food you want. You don't have you pay one price for the ticket, and that's it. If you wanted to order, you could. But I just feel like at the end of it, like everyone was involved and we were all singing along, and it was an amazing experience. I feel like if I went to the cinema and watched Grease, it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, because I don't think a cinema lends itself to being expressive.
No, but then you have to be quiet
as a viewer.
as well.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's like just sit down and watch. Like, shut up.
I don't know if if necessarily though, if Netflix is the replacement of cinemas though.
What do you think?
Just because like cinema is like it's quite a it's quite a, like, if you look at the history of it, like it's been very informative of like culture.
Right.
Like people have like learned a lot of different cultures. I mean, particularly Western culture. It's been a medium to kind of get a lot of culture across, and a lot of, you know, like I don't want to say propaganda, but like just information via, you know, visuals, I guess. I think Netflix is very I think it's cool, but it's like it's not it doesn't kind of, I don't think it reaches as much people as we think it does, to be honest with you. Like I think cinema is like I think because I think I did see somewhere where it's like streaming, although like people might be streaming a lot more than people watching TV. I think the actual numbers of like streamers,
Right,
like
like individual users. Yeah, comparatively.
I feel
that
like
makes sense.
But don't you think that will change over time? Because if you think about it as well, the people who are probably watching TV are the older generation, and eventually when they die out, because it may just be because they don't have access to, they're not computer literate, so they're not using the computer as much to stream. But as they age and they kind of die out of the population, like we're getting older now, so eventually we will be the grandparents, but we're still used to using Netflix and things like that.
Not quite yet.
No, but I kind of need to have a child first. That's usually a start. But do you know what I'm saying? So eventually we're going to be those 60-year-olds and 70-year-olds, but because we've kind of grown up with this technology, we will continue to stream. So I think over time that will change.
I hear you.
And the internet gets faster as well. It gets cheaper.
Yeah, and then also obviously these mobile devices as well just makes it a lot easier to consume content, and you can consume content on the go. Like when you were at home, like for example, before, even if you had a film on DVD, you had to have the DVD player and the television there. But now you can just download something on your phone and just watch it. So you could be watching it on the train, you can be watching it on an airplane, you could be watching it anywhere essentially. So I feel like I don't know what cinemas are going to be. I don't know if Netflix will necessarily replace cinemas. I think for the time being, Netflix and, say, Facebook Watch are putting more pressure on things like YouTube. But I don't know if they're going to totally eradicate the cinema.
Yeah, because even thinking about it, like you said, there's some things I just don't want to watch on my phone because I'm a bit of a purist. Like I do want the big screen. I do want the surround sound. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think it's doing it justice. Like all of those potentially thousands of people that have gone behind this movie and all that money that's gone behind it, for me to just watch it on my phone for 10 minutes, press pause and then go. And do you know what I mean? Like I feel like I need to give attention.
But is it also because you're used to going to the cinema? If you
I
think
think,
about the generation up,
absolutely.
They, like, for example, if they're all used to streaming, then that's comfortable for them. That we grew up in a time where if we wanted to see a film, you had to come out in the cinema. The generation that's coming behind us, like my niece who's 4, by the time she comes of age to, you know, be choosing her choice of film and stuff, she may not even necessarily want to go to the cinema because she's used to streaming. So I think a lot of these things are to do with the fact that we've grown up, if we're like 80s babies and 90s babies, because we've been given like a taste of everything, so we can almost make a choice. Whereas with them, because they've been conditioned to think that this is easier, it's quicker, it's on your phone, it's convenient, like they're not really that much focused on the quality and all the time that goes into it.
Yeah, no, you just gave me a good idea, but I'm not going to share it on the podcast.
Can you tell me after?
Yeah, I will. dot. I was thinking, if we share it, and then someone's going to do it, and then, let me just do it.
Yeah. I think it's a lot to do with our generation, but one question I wanted to ask you, as a filmmaker, how easy is it for you to watch a film without being like, oh yeah, so continuation there wasn't on point, or the lighting there, the cinematography there could have been a bit better. Why'd they use a blue light and not a yellow light? Why did they? Do you get like that, or can you genuinely sit down and enjoy a film now?
What do you think?
No comment.
You know what? I think. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, in my own head, I don't think I'm like that. But I mean, I think. I'm definitely doing that in my head. I'm definitely like analyzing it as I'm watching it. But I think I'm almost the opposite in my where I think. To be honest with you, I'd rather nobody was talking. To be honest with you, I'm not really. I find like I get questions. I find I'll get the questions asked
People
rather than
ask you.
yeah.
Oh,
I find
okay.
like I'm like, oh, so what happened there? Like, oh, that didn't quite make sense. Can you explain? And I'm
I see.
like, nah, don't talk to me. It's kind of my
Is that afterwards or while?
during probably.
Oh yeah. That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
No, I hate. Do you know? It's just in general, like especially like if you've seen a film before someone, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, so what happens next?
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god, like, is he gonna jump? Is he gonna jump?"
Right,
and just
right,
like,
right.
mate, can you just like watch
watch
the
it?
film?
Yeah.
So
Oh
it
no,
must
the
be-
worst is when you're both watching the film at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, what happens now? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just-
We're both watching this film at the same time.
It's annoying, man.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so, yeah, there are like, I think there are rules and regulations for when you're watching a movie. Do you know what I mean?
that movie.
A lot of it does come down to like when you've gone to the cinema. So it's like shush, lights off,
Right,
no
right,
distractions.
right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it comes down to immersion.
No, but then sometimes when I'm in this, like, I have like my own sound effects down. Oh my god! Do you do that in the cinema? Like,
No,
don't you
but
ever
you're-
say anything?
You reminded me of a story. I was in New York with my auntie, and we went to see Passion of Christ. The Passion of Christ. Oh my God, she was shouting at the screen.
Okay.
Like I was like sinking into my seat. Like, please, like allow me,
Happened
please.
in the Bible.
No, you can't do that to him. Stop it. All of that. Like I was like, please, like allow it. This happened 2,000 years ago. Yeah. So yeah, my aunt didn't follow the rules of the cinema, but yeah, man, yeah,
I think what streaming will do though. I think it will. It's gonna cheapen the market. I think it's gonna like in a sense of because people already make films on their phones and stuff like that already. I mean, I don't think that's gonna like be a complete 360 on how things are done. I think that you might get more films being made for a lot cheaper.
yeah,
And I think it's going to probably bring down the market value as far as like like the biggest. Because I think a Black Panther film, although it did quite well in today, it might have done a lot better a few years ago. Like
right.
Like it would have. I think again, same with music. Like it's music. A platinum artist today would have probably done the triple platinum 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Technology generally brings down the production value
Yeah.
of things
Yeah.
because it's more accessible,
Yeah.
and therefore more people are making things for cheaper. But then, in the same token, you get a lot of creative work from that because it's like, oh, I've just made this on my phone.
Yeah, and I mean, I think also it'll create maybe a lot more separation. So the films that are like really, really good probably will stand out a lot more.
Yes, agreed.
And like those who are really, really good at what they do probably be a lot more noticeable. I think.
What do you think about the impact that it will potentially have on Hollywood as well, in terms of actors and actresses and how they get paid? Because it's like, do you think it will also reduce the value as well? Of like, I don't know, it was Taraji who was saying, I can't remember the
Taraji P.
term
Henson.
that she used, but it's basically like every actor that goes in, they have their price kind of thing. And they'll always ask you, like, how much were you paid on your last film? And then that will give them the kind of gauge in terms of, how much they're going to pay you for your next film. But I feel like if everyone's moving to the point now where social influencers are probably going to... Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? Do you remember, like, back in the day for journalism, for example? I remember I wanted to be a journalist at one point when I left college. And I remember going into the lecture and they said to me, oh, you can earn on average about $12,000 a year. And I'm like, I'm going through all of this to, like, come out and earn $12,000. But it was around the time when celebrities started writing articles for magazines and stuff like that. So that really cheapened the market.
Right.
So being a journalism wasn't seen as such a big thing anymore because kind of like everyone was doing it. And I feel like that's what we're going through now. Now that print's out, it's affecting all the other industries as well. So I feel like as an actor, actress, you're no longer going to be able to, you're not going to have actors and actresses that you're going to pay £1 million for a film.
Depends, because, for example, like Netflix are pumping money into projects, and that comes down to the exclusivity. Like, you're only going to see it on Netflix, but the budgets are similar, or if not even more, to like the big budget movies.
I don't think they can do that forever, though. I think they're doing that because they know that they need to get a lot more people subscribed to their services.
That's what it is. It's an investment.
Yeah.
It's like Amazon, for example.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they've done this, but Amazon have commissioned a TV version of Lord of the Rings. So for Amazon Prime, their streaming service, and it's cost them $1 billion.
Okay.
For 5 series. $1 billion for a story that everyone's seen, not even too long ago.
But that, again,
the movie
that's
version,
your
how many
generation.
Grammys, Oscars?
Could it be that they're targeted?
Yeah, I mean,
the
it
target
could be.
audience, it could be like the younger generation that's coming up. That
It could be, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like that long ago. When Lord of the Rings was out, when 2002, something like that. Okay, so that's not long ago for me, but I guess for some people. But $1 billion.
I think so. What I think, like with streaming, I guess same thing goes to music. It's like, cause it's only been around for like a couple of years now, and like so Spotify and Netflix, like, they're about how old would you say?
Well, so I think it's been popular for the last few years, but
Okay.
Netflix as a company
longer.
started in '97, I think.
Oh, really?
They started off as a DVD
Okay,
to home,
yeah,
and then they put their DVD catalog online,
Yeah.
which then naturally evolved into streaming.
Yeah.
But streaming didn't really become mainstream until a few years ago. Yeah.
All right,
Just
so-
because of the internet prices and
Right.
how much they price the actual subscription.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So, 10 years from now, that Spotify song that got 1 million plays might just have 10 million plays because it's 10 years from
Critical
now.
mass.
It's just, it
Exactly.
just accumulates over time.
Exactly.
I think probably like that might be where the direction people are trying to go. I guess like just investing, and a film like Lord of the Rings or a TV series like the version of Lord of the Rings, £1 billion. I guess you think about the success of Game of Thrones as well, because it's the same kind of market. I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's probably like a long-term thing where they think like, they might.
long-term view.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it's not. I don't think streaming's going anywhere. To be honest with you.
No,
Yeah.
No, it's not.
definitely not. It's only going to become faster, cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better content. So yeah.
Cool. So yes,
like that topic.
We actually got more out of it than I thought. To be honest.
it's a really good topic.
so-
But actually, I wanted to ask you. So, like, what do you think about like, I guess like the relationship between like streaming music and music videos? Like, what's the
Streaming music and watching music videos.
Yeah, like,
I think it comes down to a perception thing. Like, I think people can enjoy they enjoy the song,
Sure.
but then they want to see the video. It's
Okay.
it depends on the way the artist plays it out, because sometimes the artist, like Childish Gambino recently, he dropped the song and the video at the same time. Whereas someone like Calvin Harris dropped the song, it becomes massive, like #1 for 4 weeks, then drops the video. So then you're seeing it, you're hearing it everywhere, but then all of a sudden you're seeing it on TV, and it kind of brings life into the song a bit more. I think it really comes down to how the artist wants to, like how integral it is to the song.
Okay.
Yeah, because some people just use it as marketing.
Do you think that can be compared to when you read a book and then you watch the film? Because I feel like for me, whenever I've read a book and I've gone to see the film, I've always been disappointed.
Okay.
Nothing can beat your imagination.
Yeah, because I just feel like in my imagination, that's not how I saw the character, and
Okay.
that's just not it. You ruined it.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably similar to like music and music videos.
Yeah. Oh my god. So yeah, in answer to what extension, I've heard songs where I'm like, no, the video needs to be this, this, and this. If you don't do that, I'm gonna be hella disappointed, and that's happened.
What about with your own songs?
Yeah, that's happened a lot. a lot, and it gets my nerves
Found a
because
soft spot.
no, it's annoying
Touchy,
because
touchy.
do you know what it is? When I make music, I see the visual first,
Okay.
and then that kind of informs it. Like I see the whole thing.
Okay.
So when the song's done and you've gone through the whole process and it takes ages and it's actually out and it's got like even like a major label budget and everything behind it, and the concept that's not even thought out well. Do you know what I mean? Like at least just because I think from the business standpoint, it's like, oh, we just need to get a video out
But
there.
that's probably like what we were saying earlier. Like most artists are just it's just quantity over quality.
Yeah.
Just need
For
to
me,
get it
I'm
out.
like, no, this is a piece of art, man. We need to do it justice. Like the 360 of it needs to be sick. Do you know what I mean? So, and this is no, it's my ego and arrogance, but when I've done something that I really believe in, like to put it in food terms, I don't want to make a gourmet meal and then it to be delivered in like a takeaway container.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like it needs to be consistent. That's my thought.
I think we found ourselves.
I believe in
That
art,
might
man.
actually be a
Hey,
really
that's
good
dope.
question for to explore a little bit further in terms of like how things are interpreted by different people.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm wrong a lot of the time. So, yeah, I'm welcome to be wrong on that.
Because it can go it can go in the other direction as well. Because for example, you may have interpreted it in one way, but then you saw another interpretation of it that just blew your mind.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
Ryan's not easily pleased.
All right, example. Did you see Beyonce's performance? The American Music Awards. She done a performance. It was solo, and she had a massive screen behind her, and it was all not hologram, but
Was
it
it when
was
she was playing like the globe and like
Yes.
hitting it around?
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That should have been the video.
As in the music video.
Yeah,
Okay.
of I think it was Who Runs the World.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because for me, that's like more creative than
But then
video that was there.
But then the video that was there was also creative because isn't that when she brought over the African
African
dancers?
dancers.
Yeah, it was. But that, if
But
it was
I don't
like
know
a,
if that would have translated well as a video. I think as a performance it works because you're seeing her on the stage playing around with animation. Whereas in the
but
video,
all right, what if it
will
was flipped
get a
around?
bit-
What if she brought over the
'Cause,
African
it could've
dancers
been
onto the
other way.
stage?
Yeah, it could have been. It could've
And
gone
that
the
was
other way,
and what was the stage show was the video.
could have gone the other way. You're right. That's true.
Beyonce hit me up. Ryan at
got
ulterior.co
ideas.
consultancy. Video consultancy. No, I'm joking.
in retrospect. In hindsight.
Well, on your next project. I've got ideas, man.
Law of attraction.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
No, but
so-
that's a really good question.
Jay-Z for listening, by the way. Jay-Z.
By the way, his videos recently.
Yeah.
What
Oh
did you
yeah,
think?
yeah, yeah. You know, I thought, yeah, no. Actually, I think those were. I mean, I think it's. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked the fact that he made films as opposed to doing music videos.
Yeah.
As a music fan, I felt like I'd have liked to hear the whole song in some instances.
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, I guess that's the direction he's going, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree.
Appreciate it though.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I do. Yeah, with music videos, music films where it does kind of, it leans more to the film than the music.
Yeah.
That's, as a listener or
Yeah.
as a viewer, that's a bit annoying because you just do want to hear the song.
Yeah.
And you want to hear, oh, they missed that bit. Oh, they cut that bit out.
Yeah.
But is
is
there?
annoying.
Could it be that they've maybe analysed how people consume music videos now? People maybe are not listening to music videos
The whole way
for
through.
the song. They're just listening. They're watching the music video just because they want to see the whole cinematography behind it, the visuals and everything. Because most people are streaming, and because everyone's moving more towards sound now and audio, that if you actually take the time out to watch the visual, then you want to see something that looks like a film.
Perhaps, yeah.
I think in his case, maybe particularly like, because obviously, so you can only get his music now on like, I think it's Tidal, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So I think maybe, because you can't hear the whole music on the video.
It forces you to
That makes sense.
Maybe
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might be something.
It's almost like a trailer.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Interesting. These are good questions. Very
go.
good.
It's really good.
Very good.
Yeah, so just conscious of time.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we've kind of overrun a little bit, but I enjoyed it. One of the questions that we always ask our guests is, what inspired you to do this in the first place? How did you get here from graphic design
Sure.
to being a film director?
So I studied graphic design from in college, and then I went and did that in uni as well, as a BA. And while I think it was in my third year, my dad bought me a camera. So then I started doing photography, and then I just figured out that the camera that I had could do the video at the same time.
Oh, nice.
So I just then started doing videos, and then from there, just started doing music videos. I think to speak to as well what you're saying about musicians, your music, and you seeing the visual before the actual music.
Yeah.
That's kind of the approach that I've always taken in doing music videos. I've always preferred songs where I can see the visual in the music. I can tell. You can tell the difference as well is in an artist that has just made a song and then somebody who's actually tried to paint a picture.
Right.
And so my approach in music videos was always storytelling, and I was always trying to make a film out of whatever the music was saying to me at the time, I guess.
That makes sense.
And then from there, short films happen, and then feature film, and then here we are. I guess.
Wow.
So music really is probably what inspired me to do films, I guess. That's probably
Wow.
the short answer. Yeah.
It's a good answer.
So Hype Williams is probably one of
Nice.
inspirations. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very, very influential music video director. Like you know, if there was a Hype Williams video on MTV back in the day, you knew it.
Yeah.
It had so many trademarks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the challenges that you faced trying to navigate your way through becoming a film director?
I guess it's learning the business, really. I think that's probably like the most challenging part, just learning the
What
business.
aspects of it?
I guess like there's learning the business of the craft in the sense of like learning like what moving parts there are. So when I graduated from the BA, I did my first feature film straight afterwards, and by then I had done like a few music videos, and so I was like, while I was studying my BA, I was doing a lot of stuff in the music industry. I used to work for Tim Westwood.
Okay.
I used to intern for radio stations, Deja Vu Radio.
Yeah.
Deja Vu, back in the day.
Yeah. Well, yes, I was quite heavily like moving around in the music industry, interning and stuff like that.
Sure.
So then when I did the feature film, it was kind of like it was a whole new experience to me. I didn't know what filmmaking was really, because prior to then, it was just pretty much shoot and go, really. Like I think that's kind of a lot of music videos today.
Yes.
Actually, it's still quite just shoot and go. So doing the feature film, it kind of encouraged
How long
me.
was the feature film?
It's about an hour and a half.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half.
It's a long stretch from a 5-minute music video.
Yeah. But I'd done quite a few up to that point.
Yeah.
So, and even still, it's still nothing to compare. It's still a whole new world. But I guess what I had maybe in my arsenal was the speed. I guess like being able to move quickly. I think that's the speed that I had. Was helped me make the feature film. It wasn't necessarily. I mean, if I did that same film today, it would look completely different. But it was. But the nature of the film required me to be quite quick in getting it done. And we went to Switzerland to film some stuff. We went. We filmed some stuff all around London as well. But it was a very ad hoc way of just doing it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was literally just, all right, we got this idea, let's just get it done. And the people that I was making it with just pulled together every kind of resource and every kind of, tool there was to make it happen. And we just sped through it. And then
Is it in the public domain now that we can?
Trailers online, but the film's not out. But the film's called The Newspaper.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called The
Interesting
Newspaper. It's based on a true story. It's about there's a paper that was made a couple of years ago, or more than a couple of years ago, called the London Weekly, an independent paper, and the independent owners of the company came under trouble with like the more prominent newspapers.
Okay.
And it's the story of like the challenges that they faced trying to start a paper in London.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
Yeah.
conspiracy theory to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Is that gonna be coming out? Can we watch that or?
I don't know.
I guess that relates back to the question, the challenge, right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So I mean that is I guess a small example, but navigating. So learning the business, but also I guess knowing. In learning the business, you're also learning your worth as well, and learning that in the business, what you bring to the business, and you're gonna learn you're gonna learn the hard way because you don't know. So because you don't know your worth, it's gonna be taught to you. One way or another.
Yeah.
You're either gonna be worth nothing.
We've all experienced.
Yeah. So and then also I guess like so learning your worth and then learning how to increase your worth as well, and learning how to I guess be find the right people to work with and be around the right people. And yeah, those are the challenges, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's probably a challenge for most creatives, to be honest.
Definitely.
Because it's how do you put a value on your talent?
Right.
It's just something that you're innately able to do.
Right.
So, like, how do you determine what your pricing strategy should be?
Yeah, so that was kind of like the hardest part, I guess. And it's not necessarily, I've not figured it out yet, but I guess it's like, again, because you wanna, because a lot of being a creative is about getting in the hours to just practice your craft, and I kind of practiced while I was
As you go,
as I was going,
Yeah.
pretty much like,
Yeah.
which is again, so it's like that's kind of like so where I'm learning the business, but I'm also using it to just keep developing.
build,
so I'm working as much as I can work, just so I can have the practice. So I'm kind of it's a constant battle between, all right, I want to do it because I want to do it, but don't really want to do it for free.
Yeah, it has
But
to
at
be
the same time,
sustainable.
Yeah,
I think it's something that we all have to go through, because when you're doing something and you're growing organically, like until you do, because for example, if you want to be a musician or whatever, you have to do it.
right.
And in doing it, when you first start out, you just want to gain experience. So you will charge less so you get the experience. But I feel like maybe you just need to get to a point now that I'm in that same position where I'm at the point now where you have to stop. Because I was listening to this motivational video this morning, and the guy used this analogy of, so say you're a lion in the jungle, right? And you can be a lion in the jungle every day chasing field mice.
Okay.
Yes, it's going to satisfy your hunger temporarily, but it's not going to give you like that full meal. Like if you say, for example, a lion killed a buffalo, they can survive on that for 3 days. If you kill the field mice, yes, you're satisfied temporarily because you're only going after those small little easy jobs. So you have to come to the point when you decide to yourself, look, I'm tired of running after field mice. How am I ever going to be a millionaire if I'm only aiming for those jobs? So I think I'm at that position now where I have to think it's definitely now going to be quality over quantity, where you have to stop and say, okay, I'm actually going to have to turn down jobs.
Yeah.
And it's painful because then you got your bills to pay and you got things that you need to do. But it's until you get to that point where you're actually charging more, that's the only time you're going to get to the Hype Williams and be given those creative jobs where you can really display your talent.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
some of the time, because I even got approached to do a website, and I've had to say no because I've realised, yes, I can do it, but it's not really going to show anything. It's not really going to get me to that next level, because what we need to get to the point now is that when we do these jobs, is that we're proud to then use that as part of our CV, and then to say to someone, this is what I've done, look at what I've done, and to demonstrate the returns on what you've done as well. So I feel like it is striking that balance, and I think for the most part, we're going to have to do a bit of both. So you get those small jobs in to pay the bills, but those are not the ones that you're going to promote to the public. So I felt like that was such a cool analogy, because yes, you are being fed, you're just not being fed well.
Absolutely. No, it's a really, really good analogy. And I think for anyone listening as well, if you think, I'm not sure whether I'm at that stage yet, I think you will know when you're at that stage, because you do kind of feel that urge or that frustration where it's like, okay, I've done this, this and this. Okay, now I should be doing something else. So
it starts to become painful as well. That's what I've actually found. I found like when you're doing things, because for me, even though I might do something small, I always focus on quality. And what I find later on is that you sell yourself short, because people will see that you provide quality work. And then you just have to be bold enough to stand up and say, I'm sorry, you need to pay me more. And what I found is when I've actually said that I want to be paid more, they don't even hesitate to pay it. I think it's just a mindset thing, because we're in this almost like this broke mentality.
Sure.
So it's like breaking yourself out of that and be bold enough to believe in yourself and say, actually, I'm worth that amount of money. Because I've realised, because even like when I attended a networking event, like it's, for example, if you've got like a personal trainer, and a personal trainer that's charging 10,000. Oh, for example, Meghan Markle's makeup artist charged £18,500 to do her makeup.
Good on you.
She didn't even look like she had makeup on to me.
Actually, somebody said to me yesterday, "Oh, she has quite a natural look, Meghan Markle." Well, that's crazy.
But £18,500 now. What?
That's insurance.
That is
because
someone...
you've got the whole world watching.
Yeah,
if the makeup's wrong,
do
you know what I mean? So you have to pay $18,500 to get that right.
No, but the thing is, it's like you have to be bold enough. That person was bold enough because they knew their worth to say, look,
exactly. I'm not going to get this wrong.
Look, if you want me, that's how much you're going to pay. And I feel like there has to be an element of bravado and boldness that you have to believe in you before other people can believe in you, basically. And you have to know your worth before anyone else will know
Absolutely.
your worth.
Know your worth and show your worth.
Yeah, and because I see that with my brother. He always says, he's so adamant that that's the price.
Right.
If you don't, you can go to John down the road and get a lot cheaper, but you're not going to get what I bring to the table.
Right.
So
know your worth.
Know your worth.
Lovely.
So
cool. So I think that's a good place to wrap. Where can people find you online?
For the most part, Instagram.
Yeah. What's your handle on Instagram?
It's at Mr. Will Media. Yeah.
At Mr. Will Media, but I'll chuck up the
MRWI.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good distinction. Yeah, I'll put the link up in the show notes so you can click it and follow Jordan.
Check out his work.
Online. Is your work? Is there links to your work on there as well?
Yeah. So Instagram is kind of like where I put like the most like it's kind of like my feed of updates really. So,
okay.
But in that you'll find I think in my link my link bio.
Yeah.
I've got like a portfolio.
Perfect.
Links to portfolios.
So what is it that you're doing for Capital Extra Music Potential? Because that's something that we're going to be attending this week. What did you actually do for them?
So I think the thing you're going to is the showcase performance, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was I was a videography tutor.
Okay.
So what happened is they had like different, I think they did like workshops. So they had different workshops basically. So I think prior to now, they was always doing like the music production side of it.
Sure.
And they had like aspiring artists just come through and develop and whatever not, which is what I think is the focus for Thursday.
Yes.
But what they started this year was they started looking at some like the behind the scenes roles. So I did the videography workshop, and there was a social media workshop as well, and there was a photography workshop going on at the same time. And so in my class, it was pretty much, for me, it was mostly about teaching them the mechanics behind making a music video, I guess. That's pretty much what I was trying to do. Yeah.
Cool. So we'll see some of those students on Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they will be there. Yeah.
Are they going to show any of the videos as well?
Or? No, so we had that already. So that was like we had like a screening.
So they
okay,
had the
okay.
screening.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
Right,
That was like at the end of the course kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's really good.
Yes,
Cool.
guys. So next week's interview is going to be.
Next week's interview is with Sean Sager.
Yes.
And Sean is an actor. He's been in Ill Manners, a few other things, but namely Our Girl, which is a BBC show, which is on its third season, I believe. I think the second part of the third season, I hope it's third season, otherwise I'm getting it wrong, premieres next week, Tuesday, and our episode with Sean drops on Monday. So make sure you're subscribed so that goes straight into your feed on Monday morning. It's a good one. It is
a really good one. He's dropped so many gems in that interview, and you're going to have so many things that you can take away.
Yeah.
But he also, because what we've provided you today is a film director's perspective, but Sean's actually providing you the perspective of an actor.
Yes.
So it's a totally different angle. So it really works well that the two have followed each other. So
It's almost like For the Creators Film Week.
For the Creators Film Festival in the pipeline, guys. Just saying.
Yes.
Coming soon.
Yes.
Let's do it. Remember to follow us on all social media platforms at @for_the_creators. Our show goes out every Monday and every Wednesday. On a Monday, we have our main show, like we just explained, someone like Sean Sager, who will be on giving us a full interview because they're already in the spotlight. But on Wednesday, we have this show where we go into, what we've been up to this week, what's been trending. And we also have our topic of the week, and we have a guest that we shine a spotlight on. This week, we're privileged enough to have Jordan Williams here. But next week, we are going to be having Naomi in. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that when the time comes.
Cool. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the guys that joined us on the live. We can't see if you did or not, but it's all good. Thank you. And thank you for coming along.
Thank you. Amazing conversation, man.
It's been really good, man.
Cool.
Really good.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. Cool. Thanks, guys.